So now that we've got our legs in place, it's time to start building the spine. So if we just go and bring back our geometry as a reference, so we want to build the spine from the back here, go from our root, which will be our root for everything, going up to the spine, to the neck, to the top of the head. So we want to outline the major rotational points of the body, which is around the pelvis, or for the torso, which is around the pelvis, around key points of the spine and the rib cage, and then the neck, the head, where the spine would intersect with the skull, and then the very top of the head, which we will control to move the head around. So quite simply. So with our joint tool, place one joint outside. There's no reason why we place it outside. I just like doing that because it's easy to find that root joint when we're combining and parenting all our controls and IKs later on. So with our first joint set there, we need to go to about where we want the pivot of our pelvis to be. It's about there. And the next one would be the bottom of the rib cage, and then midway up the rib cage, and then the armpit area, and about level with the clavicle. Then our neck area, base of the skull, top of the head. So we should now have 9 joints. So here we've got our very first root joint. This is what everything, all our roots will be, all our joints will be parented under when we get to finishing our joint setup. The next one is going to be helping our pelvis give the believable detail, believable movement, and then the rest of these are main sort of rotational areas for the spine. So we're not getting rotation clumping up in one area. The rotation and the bend is all very spread evenly across the spine. Obviously we're going with the bend of the spine, and then we're going for the base of the neck, where the actual rotation of the neck would be base of the skull, where we can pivot at the neck, because if the spine intersects the head here, so all the rotation of the head comes from this back area here, so it doesn't make any sense to have it in the middle of the neck. It makes all the sense in the world to have it at the back of the neck, following the actual real world spine. Okay, so with them in place, we'll just go into perspective mode, and you see that our joints are now aligned perfectly centre in the world. The good thing about these joints is that we don't have to prefix it with a left or a right, because there's only one set and it's perfectly in the middle of the world. This is what everything sprouts from. So we can just go in and start naming our joints. Being the very back one here will be called root, and I always put this in big capital letters so it's like I know definitely that it's root. The next one is spine _1, because it's the first spinal joint in our set. Now throughout rigging you're going to be doing a lot of names which are copies, like spine 1, spine 2, spine 3, and you can go through and name all those individually. What you can do is name one, name the first one here, and then just Control C that, move down to the next joint, and then paste it in, and then just change the number at the end. And this just speeds up what is a very monotonous section of rigging. We only want to go to set 5, spine 5 there, because from here, this is about in a real world as well, this is about in line with your C7, which is about here, and that's a major spinal column, spinal vertebrae. And the one after that will be controlling our neck, so we want to call that neck joint. I will have to go back and actually add joint to the rest of these because I made a bit of a mistake there. Okay. So yeah, remember, that's my bad here, that we need to make sure that everything that is a joint is named a joint, everything that's a control is named a control, and everything that's an IK or a spline is named an IK or a spline. So the next one is our head. And then you can either call this head top or you can call this skull. To save us from clicking the wrong one, I'm actually going to call it skull, so that I'm not clicking head by accident. There you go. So that's our spine setup. Very, very quick. Very nice. So the next one now is we're going to add our arm joints in. And now the arm joints are, again, very simple to set up, but you've just got to be aware of the actual rotation elements of the body. I mean, if you feel your neck around this area, you can feel the actual bones of the clavicle. There should be two little bumps either side of your neck. Those are where we would start our clavicle joint from. So about here, go to the centre-ish of the arm, down to the elbow. Now, we've done this in class, so you'll be aware of this, but we actually add a joint in the forearm position, which will act as our wrist control, but when we actually come to finally set up our rig in the final stages, that will give us the ability to add a sort of forearm muscle kind of feeling going on. So we're not just twisting the wrist, we're twisting everything in the forearm as well, so we're getting a natural look. And then down to the wrist. There you go. So if we go up to the top now, to the perspective, you can see that. From the front, everything's laid in perfectly. From the side, obviously, stuff is a little bit not very laid in properly. So, first things first, we have to lay the clavicle, because remember, when we move stuff, we go down the root. If we try to move this elbow, move it back into position, and then move the clavicle forward, we're moving this elbow as well. So you want to go down the group when you're moving stuff. So first things first, clavicle needs to move. It moves up here. Luckily for this model, there is quite a defined clavicle area that we can map from, and then we take the shoulder and move it back, and then we take the elbow and then we move it back. And in fact, I misplaced mine a little bit, so I would have to move it down. It's okay to move joints with the transition, with the translator tool. We just don't want to rotate them using the rotate tool. That's a no-no. So now with that in position, remember the rotation of the elbow comes from the back, because up front is where we have all the muscles intersecting. So our bone is actually back here for our elbow. So next we want to move this area, this group, around so it lines up much more like this. But obviously we don't want to use that. We don't want to use our rotate tool. So we will go back and use our orient tool. And I believe the orientation on this is the y-axis. Yes. So in the y-axis, again, holding control and middle mouse over the Y box in joint orient. Move that around. Put that there. Lovely. Let's get that out here. Lovely. There you go. So that's our clavicle laid in and our arms. Very quick. So now we need to name these. So going back to our outliner. Drop that down. Right, so remember it's prefixing with L because this is the left side. Clavicle, joint. Make sure you spell it right. Next one, it would be the arm, because we're controlling the arm with this. Next one is the elbow joint. Now, in this position, we want to name this one the wrist, because this is what's going to be actually controlling the wrist, and then this one will be called hand, because this is actually going to be controlling everything that's going on here. Okay, so wrist joint and hand joint. I'm flying through this one pretty quick because we've done this quite a few times in class, and because obviously this is a video, you can go back and rewatch it. And remember, there are the handouts that we have on the student network that you can obviously access whenever you want. So what we want to do now, we want to mirror the joint. This should already be set up from the last time we did this. If not, make sure the settings are like this: mirror axis, YZ, switch for L, replace with R. That should be sent over like that, and then we should have our two name conventions in place, replace with R. Brilliant. So I'm going to leave it there for this part because it'll come up on 12 minutes now. But the next bit is going to be a short one. We're just going to lay the hands in, and then we're going to parent everything up, and then that will be the main joint setup for our rig. Okay, cool.